So my wife needed a Hawaii state ID, and so we went down to the DMV to pick one up, and I just want to share our experience as well as maybe some tips in case you want to go and get a state ID or a driver's license. The DMV in general is a bad experience and no one really wants to be there. We've all heard the stereotypes of rude employees, long lines, and disorganization, but if you have to go, you have to go. And so if you need a Hawaii state ID or a driver's license or to renew your driver's license, you have to go to one of the several locations they have here on Oahu. So we scheduled my wife's appointment on the online Aloha Q website, which the website itself is not really that fancy or amazing, but I will say that it's very straightforward and simple to use. Because they are swamped at all of the DMVs, we had to schedule out about 2 to 3 months ahead of time. So the wait times can be pretty long depending on the location. And because each location has a different busyness level, we chose one of the lesser crowded, it's still crowded, but one of the lesser crowded locations called the Ko'olau satellite station. Prior to making the appointment, I looked online for what documents we needed, and the biggest thing for me was the 2 documents for proof of residency. And so I made sure that we didn't just have 2, but we had 6, just in case they didn't accept it, because I wasn't sure, I didn't want it to be rejected just because of that. And so the morning of the appointment, I looked at the Ko'olau satellite station and I wanted to see some reviews on how it was, and it wasn't looking too promising. It was like 2 out of 5 stars, and I read a lot of the reviews. A lot of the reviews did not like the people there, a lot of complaining, so I was kind of skeptical before we even got there. So we arrived about 15 minutes early and I walked in, asked the security guard what we were supposed to do. And he just said, oh, just sit down and then watch the TV and then they'll call your number. At the time, we were about number 6 in the queue, so it wasn't too bad. And in fact, with just the right timing, we're set to go right around the time our appointment was made. The way that they schedule it is they have like 4 of the appointments, people who actually scheduled appointments, and then they try to fit someone who's a walk-in, and then they do 4 or 3 or so appointments, and then they fit someone else who's a walk-in. So if you're a walk-in, expect to be there for a long time. And I have to say, I was pretty impressed by the TV system that they have that displayed when everyone was gonna go, because I was worried that it'd be like the old system where you're pulling numbers and you have no idea when you're supposed to go. So at least if you are a walk-in and you have to come in and early and pick a ticket or stand in line, at least you have a general idea about how long your wait's gonna be, which for that day was probably about 3 hours. When we walked in, there was only 1 person working the counter, which I thought was really strange considering how many people are waiting there. But I think the other 2 people were just on break or in the back. And eventually they came up and there were all 3 people at the counter. I did notice that some people who were there who went up to the counter and they did their paperwork and they submitted it actually didn't take their picture that day. And I think it's because they forgot their paperwork. So you want to make sure that you bring all the necessary paperwork. We were called a little after our scheduled time, maybe 5 or 10 minutes after, which actually isn't too bad. The lady was super nice, very professional. She took our paperwork, she typed it up a lot, then she scanned some documents, took our money, and told us to sit down. About 5 minutes later, my wife was called to have her picture taken. They printed her temporary ID, and that was it. So in total, probably about 20 minutes. And I have to say, overall, the experience was pretty good. I don't know why there were so much negative reviews. I think it might be from people who either weren't prepared or who weren't ready to get their ID or their license. As long as you make your appointment, you know exactly when you're gonna go. If you look online, you can see exactly what you have to bring. So in reading some of those reviews, I'm not exactly sure what the problem was. So I don't know about all the online reviews. I think most people, when they have a good experience, they don't really remember to put the positive reviews. So I just want to say thank you very much to all those workers at the Ko'olau satellite station. It was very smooth, very professional, very easy and quick. I was very impressed, so thank you. I think that's level, but now the tips. Okay, so tips for if you're actually gonna go down there. Tip number 1 is make an appointment. I know sometimes you can't control when you have to go. Maybe you didn't know your license was gonna have to be renewed, or you're gonna have to get a state ID if you want kama-aina rates, but honestly, unless you wanna wait all day and you can take off all day, you wanna make an appointment. And yeah, the appointments They're months out, but just make it anyway because you can always cancel. So plan ahead, just make sure you know exactly when you're gonna need it. Plan at least 2 to 3 months ahead. Trust me, you don't wanna be one of those people who are waiting 3 to 4 hours with no guarantee that you're gonna get to be seen. Tip number 2 is make sure that you bring the proper paperwork. They have it all online, so just get that list, print it out, double check, and make sure that all the paperwork that you need, you actually have, especially that little paper social security number. For me, that was a big one because for my wife, she didn't have any other proof of a social security number except the little card. So we had to make sure that we got it. And a lot of people really don't carry anything with their social security number on it. So you wanna make sure that you have at least that. And of course, it's really tricky with the proof of residency. You wanna make sure you got at least 2 different bills, preferably a bank account as well. Like I said, we had 6 documents just in case they wouldn't take one of them. Because really there's almost no worse feeling than waiting 2 or 3 hours in line just to be told that, oh, sorry, you don't have the proper paperwork. So I wanted to make sure that we had it. And number 3, especially in Hawaii, is practice aloha. Be patient. You know, it must be really hard to have to deal with people every single day, a lot of whom are really angry at you for some reason. And you have to sometimes tell them, sorry, I can't help you. You don't have the proper paperwork. I mean, they have to have thick skin because they deal with so many people who are so angry. I mean, again, no one wants to be at the DMV. And also try to be patient with people who are waiting at the DMV. It's not easy to sit there for 2, 3, 4 hours waiting and hoping that you get to be seen. And I'll leave you with this quick story. So as we were waiting there was this lady who was like coughing like a lot. And she was just kept coughing and coughing. And you know, I thought maybe, oh, you know, she drank water and it went down the wrong pipe or something. But she was coughing for like 2 to 3 minutes straight. And so we're all kind of getting worried for her. And she said she's choking. So of course we don't know what to do, right? As other people were just like, oh okay, you know, pat her on the back. Are you okay? Are you okay? And so we started asking for help from the security guard. We asked, oh, can you go get her some water because she needs something to drink? And the security guard, he walked away pretty slowly actually, but what was really nice was that one of the guys sitting behind me, he had an extra bottle of water. And so he gave it to her and she was able to sort of feel better. And I saw that and that was such a nice act of kindness and generosity. And that's the kind of stuff that you kind of want to see at a DMV lobby as we're all miserable and waiting. So as I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes out here because it is Hawaii, I hope that these tips were helpful. I hope that our experience kind of shines a light that it isn't that bad if you come prepared. If you make an appointment, you got all your stuff, you'll be fine. So thanks for watching this video and aloha.